Fox News doesn't need Bret Baier to be perfect. They just need him to hold the line.
Well, Fox has not changed. We have a news side and an opinion side.
Hold the reputation.
The network overall is not a mouthpiece.
Hold the image that Fox is still doing journalism, even as its primetime stars torch that idea nightly.
People who have a really, really big problem with Fox likely haven't watched Fox.
And Bret has held for decades. But after the Dominion lawsuit dropped his private emails, after colleagues walked out, after his own show bent towards election fantasies, something shifted. For the first time, people started asking whether the man Fox relies on to look legitimate actually is. This is the story of that very question. Who is Bret Baier really?
Why did you get into the business? Why did you become a journalist?
You know, I was a ham in high school. I was the sports editor of the paper. I interned at a local station in Atlanta, WSB, and I looked over at the news people and said, wow, I like that over there. I really became interested in politics, really to try to file stories to get on Brit Hume's show, Special Report. So I would bounce around the Southeast and do political stories to try to get on that show.
But Bret's origin myth inside Fox starts on September 11th, 2001.
I was called up to back up reporters in New York after the first plane hit. After the second plane hit, we were told to drive. And the third plane hit, the producer and I were rerouted to the Pentagon and I started doing live shots for Fox affiliates around the country with the burning Pentagon behind me that day. And I never went back to Atlanta. That was the beginning of my time. I became the Pentagon correspondent, so it changed my life.
But even then, people inside Washington noticed something. Bret had an unusually warm access to the Bush administration. Bush officials liked him. Karl Rove liked him. He got interviews other reporters didn't. Bret himself said Bush press secretaries always called him back, even during tension with Fox. That kind of relationship building shapes a journalist, especially one who later becomes the face of straight news for the most openly partisan network in America. So from the beginning, Bret was a serious reporter who thrived by staying friendly with the people in power. And that dynamic becomes very important later, stabilizing the Fox News machine. If you look at Fox as an ecosystem, there's like two species. The primetime opinion hosts, and everyone who exists to make them look legitimate. Bret is the second category. He's the one anchor executives can point to and say, see, we do real journalism. Advertisers like him. Lawmakers go on his show. Democrats will only go on his show. He's the one Fox can parade in front of the world to counter accusations of partisanship. But behind closed doors, the news side at Fox has been shrinking for years. Chris Wallace left for CNN, saying Fox had become impossible to defend. Shepard Smith quit after clashing with opinion hosts like Tucker Carlson. Fox correspondent Kristen Fisher was reprimanded for fact-checking Rudy Giuliani and then walked out the door. A bunch of their most useless and scary employees like Pete Hegseth are now members of the Trump administration. That left Bret as the last legacy journalist standing. Which brings us to the moment his reputation totally cracked. The Arizona call. In the 2020 election, Fox's decision desk correctly projected that Joe Biden would win Arizona. They were right, but Fox viewers and Donald Trump went ballistic. This is where Bret's emails change everything. The emails, read his emails, but the emails. According to reporting from the New York Times and CNN, Bret Baier privately pressured Fox executives to retract the correct Arizona call. In one leaked email, he told the network, "We are hurting us. This situation is getting uncomfortable, really uncomfortable." He added, "The sooner we pull it, even if it gives us major egg, the better we are." So this is not something a journalist is ever supposed to say. The job is to report the truth, not adjust it because the audience is mad or they don't like that news. Bret may be a little loose with the facts sometimes, so you shouldn't rely on outlets that don't check theirs, especially with stories like this one, where Zoran Mamdani posts a video on how to handle ice and every outlet spins it differently. So it's important to know how reliable the outlet you're reading actually is. This is where Ground News is especially helpful. Ground News is a website I use every day for research that pulls in all perspectives on the most polarizing stories, adding context on bias, ownership, and factuality. You can check outlets' factuality rating that covered the story. The AP with a high rating. Zoran Mamdani tells immigrant New Yorkers about their right not to comply with ICE. Michael Savage with a low rating. Zoran Mamdani gives advice to thwart evade ICE in new video message calling to stand up to feds. So, same story, two universes. With the factuality feature, I can go further, seeing how outlets are rated for their reporting accuracy overall, and for specific stories, I can see how accurate the coverage is. This story, which has 74% coverage from highly accurate outlets, which is important to make sure I know what's really happening. It's like finally turning on the lights and realizing, oh, I've been listening to cows fart. So if you want to actually understand the news, not just inherit somebody else's spin, go to ground.news/100 or scan the QR code to get 40% off the Unlimited Access Vantage plan. Links in the description and pinned comment. Now back to the story. In leaked text with Tucker Carlson, published by the Daily Beast and CNN, Bret wrote that he had been pushing for answers and that Fox should slow walk Nevada, meaning slow down the process of calling the state so that Trump supporters wouldn't erupt and wouldn't turn their TVs off. So this is a textbook definition of compromising editorial independence to appease a political base. You're lying or slowing the truth so you don't lose ratings. On an election night? I mean, like, that's pretty bad, team. That's pretty bad. And here's the craziest bit. When someone asked him privately if Trump had any evidence of fraud, he replied, "There is no evidence of fraud, none." So he knew the truth, he just didn't want Fox viewers to see it. Some would call that very irresponsible, which is exactly what the Dominion lawsuit ultimately revealed. Fox, including its straight news side, feared its audience more than it feared lying. I don't know if anyone expected the full truth from Fox, but I think they expected it from Bret. Fox-Trump feedback loop. Bret's closeness to Trump is much deeper than a lot of viewers might realize. He plays golf with him. He takes off-the-record calls from him.
You know, he's picking up the phone and talking to a lot more reporters than you know about. There's a lot of people that are having conversations off the record with this president.
He speaks about these interactions very casually, as if it's normal for a journalist to be the president's confidant. In an interview with Politico, he defended taking those phone calls because it gives him insight into where Trump's head is.
Listen, I think that off-the-record conversations with the President of the United States, any journalist would welcome, just to know where his head is.
And that's not unusual. Reporters take background calls all the time, but with Trump, it becomes complicated because Trump uses access as leverage. And Bret admits Trump lashed out after tough interviews. After one sit-down, Trump went on Newsmax and called him nasty. But of course, Trump still goes back to him because he's the only one interviewer who can legitimize him. This dynamic, the golf, the calls, the balancing act, is why media critics like D. or Stevens argue that Bret is the most dangerous guy at Fox. Not because he's the loudest, but because he covers the propaganda with a veneer of respectability. Bret Baier's whole brand is, I'm reasonable, I'm the news guy. But he exists inside the same machine, and sometimes, by his own documented choices, he reinforces it. The misinformation problem. One of the biggest questions in media criticism is, does Bret Baier actually spread misinformation, or does he just platform it? The answer is both, at times. Media Matters found that he and Martha McCallum were major vectors of misinformation during several key political cycles because they would repeat unverified claims, host partisan guests without any correction, or adopt Trump-friendly framing under the guise of neutrality. And internal Fox messages during the Dominion lawsuit captured Fox's own managing editor commenting that Bret Baier's show devoted over 20 minutes to election fraud claims, long after they were debunked. Very irresponsible. Add that to his 2024 interview with Kamala Harris, ooh-wee, where critics noted he pressed her far harder than Trump or even Elon Musk. When the audience wants misinformation, Fox gives it to them, and Bret Baier is expected to meet them halfway. The lonely man in the middle. There's one more layer here. Bret himself has admitted how isolating his role is. In an interview with NPR, he acknowledged the increasing difficulty of being the straight news guy in a network dominated by louder, more extreme voices. He described feeling squeezed between an increasingly partisan audience and an increasingly unrestrained colleagues. You can feel the strain in his interviews. Sometimes he pushes back. Sometimes he folds. Sometimes he tries to please everybody and ends up pleasing nobody. And that tension is the entire point. Fox needs him to look like a journalist, but Fox needs him to act like a company man. And these two roles are not compatible. So is Bret a good journalist or a bad one? Here's my honest take. He's not the worst person at Fox, not even close. He is smart, he is well-sourced, he is hardworking, he's calm, and far more grounded in reality than the primetime lineup. He's written history books. He can string a sentence together, which is more than we could say for Pete Hegseth. Bar is on the floor though. But that is exactly why his role matters. Because Fox doesn't just need partisans, it needs credibility lubricants. A few trustworthy faces who make the whole operation look legitimate. When he emails executives begging them to retract a correct election call, it signals that even the best journalist inside the building is ultimately serving the same audience-coddling impulses as the propagandists. When he shapes coverage around what Fox viewers already feel, it shows that he is no longer reporting the news, he's managing the audience. And when he frames Fox's misinformation problems as a two-sided issue of media distrust, he obscures the structural truth. Fox's entire business model depends on telling its viewers what they want to hear. So, is Bret a villain? No? Maybe? Very irresponsible? Really doesn't understand the power he has? Either way, he is the most important enabler of the system he works in. And that's what makes him so powerful and so dangerous. Fox is in a transitional era. Primetime is fucking crazier than ever. The Murdoch empire is wobbling around. Journalists keep leaving. The news division is shrinking. And Trump has more influence over the network than at any point in history. Through all of this though, Bret remains the face of Fox's claim to legitimacy. If his credibility collapses, Fox loses the only argument it has left. We're not extremists. Look at our one serious journalist with a very serious face. But you know, the records, the emails, the interviews, and the reporting all point to the same conclusion. He is not a firewall. He is camouflage. And the more chaotic Fox becomes, the more important that camouflage is. Also, I didn't get time to include this fully, but can you believe that he said he's had no plastic surgery? I'm serious. He said it's all just lights, camera, action, makeup. I'm being so real right now. This guy thinks that human adults' faces just look like that. He says he's never had any work done. Can you believe that? He kind of looks like he's snuck onto Earth. Sorry, that was me. Anyway, this video was requested in the comments of one of my previous ones. I love doing these, I always learn something new. If there is anyone else out there that you wish you knew more about or you just cannot get your head around, let me know. I'm very nosy and I love looking into it. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. We do this all week, unpacking the crazy people and crazy things going on in the world, just trying to figure out what the hell is going on all together. Check out my deep dive into Megyn Kelly, another sort of news host who's really difficult to figure out. Bye!